I'm famous.
Oh, yes.
Okay, כ"ה פסוק ט' אמרנו?
Okay. All right. Who wants to read it?
Pasuk Chavtet, Sean.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, please.
I could read it.
Okay.
ויזד יעקב נזיד, ויבוא עשיו מן השדה, והוא עייף. ויאמר עשיו אל יעקב, הלעיטני נא מן האדום הזה, כי עייף אנוכי, על כן קרא שמו אדום. ויאמר יעקב, מכרה כיום את ברכותיך לי. ויאמר עשיו, הנה אנוכי הולך למות, ולמה זה לי בכורה? ויאמר יעקב, הישבע לי כיום, וישבע לו, וימכור את בכורו ליעקב. ויעקב נתן לעשיו לחם ונזיד עדשים, ויאכל וישת, ויקום, וילך, ויבז עשיו את הבכורה.
I'm sure everybody knows the story. Basically, we're not going to go into just plain what happened here. Esav is very hungry. He wants to, and Yaakov has a soup of adashim. He says, give me the red soup. And Yaakov says, sell me your bechora. And Esav says, what do you need bechora for? I'm going to die. And then, okay, I'll sell it to you. And Vayives, what does Vayives mean?
Like he booed.
Huh?
He booed it.
Booze. Yeah, booze, who needs all this? Okay, we're not going to go into this. I just want to go over this. So just please keep in mind this set of psukim. We'll come back to it again in Mitzvah Hashem, but I just want to go there. Now I want to go back. I want to go now to Perek Chav Zayin, Pasuk Lamed Daled.
Okay, 1 minute.
Yes, please.
Oh, it's so sweet.
Okay.
Well, yeah, if someone has it open, you could start reading. My computer's a little slow.
I'm sorry. Evie, is there something?
I can read.
Okay, go ahead, please.
Okay. כי שמע עשיו את דברי אביו, ויצעק צעקה גדולה ומרה עד מאוד, ויאמר לאביו, ברכני גם אני אבי. ויאמר בא אחיך במרמה, ויקח ברכתך. ויאמר אחי קרא שמו יעקב, ויקבני זה פעמיים, את בכורתי לקח, והנה אתה לקח ברכתי, ויאמר הלא, הצלת לי ברכה.
Perfect. Okay. We're not going to go into the details, but what Evie was just reading is he feels cheated. He said, I was cheated twice. I was cheated by Yaakov by selling me the Bechorah, and I was cheated by he took the bracha from me. Everybody knows that story, right? That Yaakov makes himself look like Esav, then gets the bracha. We're not going to go into the details, but so let's start one more time. Yaakov demands the Bechorah for soup. Esav gives it by Yives, and he makes fun of it, so to speak. Now, Yaakov gets the bracha, and he gets upset, and he says, "My brother, he cheated me twice. He tutored me, but he made me sell the bechora, and now he made me sell, and now he took away my bechora, my bracha. So far, so good." Mm-hmm. Okay, please keep in mind, we're not going into anything. I just want to give you a few more psukim, which were very, very interesting. And that, if you don't mind, I'd like you to read, where am I going here? Yeah. I'd like you to go to, it's very interesting. Perek Lamed Hey, it's this coming week's Pasha. I'm sorry, Lamed Vav. Lamed Vav, Pasuk Vav. This is something most of you never heard of, I'm sure. We know about the selling of the Chorah, we know about taking the bracha. What you see here, most people are not aware of. Who wants to read that one?
I can.
I can read it. Oh, maybe you can. You go. You could. Okay. Oh yeah. ויקח עשיו את נשיו ואת בניו ואת בנותיו ואת כל נפשות ביתו ואת זקניהו ואת אמותו ואת כל קניינו אשר רכש בארץ כנען וילך על ארץ מפני יעקב אחיו.
Keep going.
כי היה רכושם רב משבת יחדיו, ולא יכלה הארץ מגוריהם להסיט אותם מפני מקניהם. וישב עשיו בהר שעיר, עשיו הוא אדום.
Does anybody want to tell me what happened here? וילך אל ארץ מפני יעקב אחיו. Esav is leaving. He's afraid of Yaakov. Hey, guys, Esav has 400 soldiers. And there's anybody ever remember this pasuk? Very, very few people do. Because it doesn't make sense. Vayelech mipnei Yaakov achiv. He could tell Yaakov, hey, you go. And we have a Chusham Rav. Go. I don't want to be. What's happening here? Are you aware of this? Did you ever remember this pasuk? Anybody?
No, not since last year.
It's weird. Is Ellie there? Still there? I guess not. Whatever. I mean, it's a weird idea.
He's here, yes.
I'm here, Saba. I'm here.
Esav has 400 men.
I'm here.
And he leaves the place B'nei Achiv Yaakov. Okay, Rosham Rav. I mean, it just, the reason you don't know that pasuk is because it doesn't make sense. Okay? Okay, now let's go to one more pasuk and then we'll go see if we get what's going on here. And this now is, if you don't mind, where is that? Yeah, I want you to please, if you don't mind, go to Bamidbar, Perek Chaf, pasuk Yudaled.
Should I read?
Please.
וישלח משה מלאכים מקדש אל מלך אדום. כה אמר אחיך ישראל, אתה ידעת את כל התלאה אשר מצאתנו. ירדו אבותינו מצרימה ונשב במצרים ימים רבים, ויראו לנו מצרים ולאבותינו. ונצעק אל השם וישמע קולנו, וישלח מלאך ויוציאנו ממצרים, והנה אנחנו בקדש עיר קצה גבוליך. Shall I continue?
Everything good.
נעברנה בארצך, לא נעבור בשדה ובכרם, לא נשתה, מי באר דרך המלך נלך, לא ניטה ימין ושמאל, עד אשר נעבור גבוליך.
Okay.
ויאמר אליו אדום, לא תעבור בי, כן בחרב אצא לקראתך. ויאמרו אליו בני ישראל, במסילה נעלה, ואם מימיך נשתה, אני ומקני ונתתי מכרם רק, אין דבר ברגלי אעבורה. ויאמר לא תעבור, ותצא אדום לקראתו. לא תעבור, ותצא אדום לקראתו בעם כבד וביד חזקה. וימאן אדום נתון את ישראל, עבור בגבולו, ויך ישראל מעליו.
Okay, so what's happening here? Bnei Israel went through Mitzrayim. They went there as slaves for 210 years. They're going through the 40 years of Midbar, and they want to go to Eretz Israel. In order for it to go for Eretz Israel, you got to go across the Jordan. And one of the places you have to go to Jordan is where? Through Edom. Edom. Anybody ever seen? If you go down to Eilat, on the left-hand side, you will see red mountains. They really are red mountains. It's fascinating. Even though Esav is Admoni when he gets born, and he eats soup that's Admoni, but somehow he leaves it to Edom, and Edom really is geographically. It's always very interesting. Okay, please keep that in mind. So what is he doing here? Moshe Rabbeinu wants to cross into Eretz Israel through Edom, and he gives him a whole speech. What's the speech? You know, okay? A whole story. Let me pass. And he says, no trouble. Just to see this difference, I want you to please, that's the last pasuk. And that's pasuk, Perek Chav Aleph, please, in Bamidbar. Pasuk Chav Aleph, please.
I have to read it. Should I read it?
Please.
וישלח ישראל מלאכים אל סיחון מלך האמורי לאמור, אעברה בארצך לא ניטע בשדה ובכרם, לא נשתה מבאר בדרך המלך נלך עד אשר נעבור גבולך. ולא נתן סיחון את ישראל.
Okay. Now, is there any difference between these two requests? In both cases, he wants to go through Edom and says no. Comes up with a sword, and now he goes to Sichon. And what does he ask him to do? Let me pass.
Also,
but is there a difference between how he talks to them too? To Edom, he gives a whole speech. Etc., etc. Let me ask you a question. I got the kids in my back in my car, and I need a hotel. And they were screaming at each other, and they were throwing, and the whole thing. So I go to the hotel. Do I tell the guy behind the desk, you know, my kids were throwing stuff at each other, and they playing, please let me have a room? No, he doesn't want to know that. I would like to have a room. Somehow, when he comes to Edom, he gives the whole speech. When he comes to Sichon, he says, let me pass.
mm-hmm.
Let's keep that in mind. Everybody is still with me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now let's go back to the very beginning. These are the psukim we have on hand, and we'd like to see, is there something in Esav I always call it Esavism. Besides, is there something that Esav has in mind and that is threatening to our way of life? So let's go back now to the first part where we were. It's Bereshit. It's very interesting, I think. Bereshit Kafei. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll go back now to Pasuk Lamed Aleph. You all remember the story, right? Esav is very hungry. He comes in, and Yaakov says, Pasuk Lamed Aleph.
Should I read it? ויאמר יעקב מכרה כיום את בכורך לי.
What is that? What is he asking to do?
Sell his bechora.
What does that mean? What do you do with the bechora? I mean, I can sell you a pair of shoes. I can sell you a pair of tomatoes. What am I asking for?
It's like something that's not like, it's not like a physical thing.
It's not a physical thing. You can't, yeah. And not only that,
It's also not something you can change.
I'm sorry?
It's also not really something you can change. He was born first.
Exactly. How can I'll sell you bechora. That's it. But there's an element to this. On the one hand is the bechor, if you remember, until the Egel, the bechorot were the Kohanim. I will sell you will you sell me that ability to be the Kohen? And there's another thing. After a person dies, the bechor gets two, as opposed to one. Everybody else is one. You know what I'm talking about?
Double Yerusha.
Yerusha.
Mm-hmm.
When the Yerusha happen? When Yitzchak dies.
A Kohen gets double Yerusha?
I'm sorry?
A Kohen gets double
No.
Yerusha?
The Kohen is Kohen, the Bechor is the Bechor. They're two separate things. You're right.
Bechor gets double Yerusha.
A Bechor gets twice, and Yerush and the Bechor is basically the Kohen, so to speak. And what does Esav say? Hine anochi holech lamut. What does that mean?
I'm about to die.
She says,
It doesn't mean he's going to die from hunger. There's no way the soup is going to.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a human being. I'm going to die. Do I worry about what's happening next world? Is there a next world? I want the soup now. I want it now. And you're telling me that when my father dies, I'll get double what everybody else said. Don't give me what happens tomorrow. Don't tell me what goes on later on. I am living now. It mustn't mean he understood what he's giving up. He's giving up something that's not here yet. He's giving up something that in the future will be something important. In the future, there'll be korbanot, there'll be kohanim. Don't give me that stuff now. I want it now. Human beings die. Do I know that there's another world after that? Do I know anything? You're telling me b'chorah that someday I'll be able to get double. That's tomorrow. I want it now. He really means it. This is a philosophical thing. It's a philosophy that I want it now. Now watch the next pasuk, even more interesting, and that is pasuk. It's very interesting. It's very fascinating. Perek, excuse me if I get excited, but I am. So Perek Chav Zayin, pasuk Lamed Vav. Who wants to read it?
I can read it.
It's really fascinating.
ויאמר אחי קרא שמו יעקב, ויקבני זה פעמיים, את בכורתי לקח, והנה אתה לקח ברכתי, ויאמר הלא הצלת לי ברכה.
Would you like to explain what's going on? What's it say on Yitzchak? My brother, he stole two things from me. He stole the Bechorah and he stole the bracha. Is that a good thing to say?
It's a little confusing because he didn't.
If you sold it, so you lost the bracha. What are you telling your father that you sold it? Leave that alone. Tell him my brother is crooked. He took my bracha. Don't tell your father that my brother got me to get the bechorah, because if I sold the bechorah, I got nothing to talk about. Then he's the bechorah. He got the bracha. What is Esav doing here? It's a good question.
Yeah.
What does it tell you? I sold it yesterday, but I want it now. I don't look for, just the way I don't look for the future, the next world, the next anything. I want soup now. And the fact that I sold something in the past doesn't mean anything. I want the bracha now. So basically, he's willing to tell his father, the bechorah means nothing to me. He sold it, he took it. But the real thing is, I did that last year. I did it last week. I want it now. I want the soup now. I want the bechorah now. Now watch further. This is fascinating. The next thing that the pasuk I told you, most people are not aware of. Where was that? Bear with me a minute.
In Lamed Vav.
This one?
Lamed Vav.
Yeah. Is that the one?
Lamed Hey, I think.
Lamed Hey, please. Yeah. Who would like to read that?
What pasuk?
Yeah. It's Lamed Hey, pasuk Vav, please. Yeah, it's fascinating.
Lamed Hey, 1 second. Wait, is it Vayavo Yaakov?
But you can't say it's it's Lamed Vav pasuk Vav, please.
Lamed Vav. Okay. ויקח עשיו את נשיו ואת בניו ואת בנותיו ואת כל נפשו ואת בניו ואת כל בהמותיו ואת כל קניינו אשר רכש בארץ כנען והוליך על הארץ מפני יעקב אחיו.
So who's running away from whom? The guy
Esau.
with 400 soldiers running away from Yaakov with his 12 kids and the daughter. Go ahead. Why?
Sorry.
כי היה רכושם רב.
היה רכושם רב, נשתבע יחדיו ולא יכלה הארץ מגוריהם להשיא אותם מפני מקניהם.
One more pasuk.
וישיב עשיו בהר שעיר עשיו הוא אדום.
Remember, we had a little trouble with this whole story, no? It makes no sense. Esau's running away from Yaakov. Very interesting. Who remembers Brit Ben Abtarim? Everybody, I hope.
נכון.
Yeah, Hashem says to Abraham, you should know the Jewish people are going to get terrible time. ועינו אותם 400 שנה. ואחרי כן יצאו ברכוש גדול. You'll have to go through Mitzrayim, and ultimately you'll get a רכוש גדול. What do you think the רכוש גדול means? Silver? Gold? Is it worth for me to be a slave for 210 years to get gold? You will be able to get the Torah. You will not be able to get Matan Torah before you feel what a slave feels like. Because the Torah means that you understand what other people feel like. And if you don't go yourself through this terrible thing, you will never be understanding what a poor man really means. ידוע תדע כי גר אזרחה בארץ שלהם ועבדום ועינו אותם 400 שנה ואחרי כן יצאו ברכוש גדול. Yaakov says to Esau, look, we have a promise from Hashem. We get Eretz Yisrael, we get the Torah, but we have to live 210 years in slavery and in terrible things. You know what Esau says? I want it now. Don't tell me in 210 years or 400 years we'll get something. Vayelech what's the word here? Doesn't mean he was afraid of Yaakov when he had 400 soldiers. He left because you keep it. I don't want this. I'm going to go, you know where? Not in Eretz Yisrael. I'm going to go to a place called Edom. Edom. God didn't promise in Edom they're going to be slaves. God didn't promise that the kids will be thrown into the river. I want it now. And don't talk to me about next year and about 400 years from now. So far, the interesting thing. This is the same Esau who says, I don't know about tomorrow. Don't talk to me about Bechorah, because someday I'll be Cohen, someday I'll get double. Same thing by Yitzchak. Okay, so I sold it, but that was yesterday. Now he cheated me again. What happens here? Absolutely amazing thing to see this. You see the exact same story. Esau says to Yaakov, I don't want this. Don't talk to me about ידוע תדע כי גר זרעך בארץ לא להם ועבדום ועינו אותם 400 שנה ואחרי כן יצאו ברכוש גדול. Interesting? So far, where are we going with this? Where are we going with Esauism? Now, don't tell me about the past. Don't tell me about the future. I want it now. One more pasuk. And this is very interesting. Let's go back now to Bamidbar. You want to read pasuk Yudalad in Chaf, please?
פרק כ' or כ' א'?
It's פרק כ' במדבר, pasuk Yudalad.
I can read it.
Please.
וישלח משה מלאכים מקדש אל מלך אדום, כי אמר אחיך ישראל, אתה ידעת את כל התלאה אשר מצאתנו. וירדו אבותינו מצרימה ונשב במצרים ימים רבים, ויראו לנו מצרים ולאבותינו, ונצעק אל השם וישמע קולנו, וישלח מלאך ויציאנו ממצרים, והנה אנחנו בקדש עיר קצה גבוליך. נעברנה בארצך, לא נעבור בשדה ובכרם, לא נשתה מי באר, דרך המלך נלך, לא ניטה ימים.
Okay. The bottom line is what? He gives them a whole story, right? And how did he address Sichon? Remember how he addressed Sichon in Pasuk, in Perek Chaf Aleph, Pasuk Chaf Aleph?
Very shortly.
Read quickly if you don't mind.
וישלח ישראל מלאכים אל סיחון מלך האמורי לאמור, אעברה בארצך לא ניפל ישראל.
אעברה בארצך, לא נשמע. What's the difference?
One is very...
What is Moshe telling him? Ata yadata. Let's go back to the pasuk one more time. In Chaf. Pasuk Yudaled. You have it?
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing.
Oh, so I'm too high.
What are you telling him? Who is Edom?
Edom is Esau.
Esau, right?
Mm-hmm.
We had that before. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So who is he speaking to?
To Esau.
Melech Esau, right? Yes? Everybody still with me?
Mm-hmm.
What does he tell him in Pasuk Yudaled? Ata yadata. What does that mean?
Now you see.
Et kol atla Hashem et Satan. You know what we went through. We stood there in the 210 years of slavery. Everybody with me, Pasuk? I mean, what's the whole story about? You know what? Your father and I we had an agreement. Eretz Yisrael is ours, and Edom is yours. We went through Abamot Shana, this Brit Ben Abtarim. Your father gave that up, and now it's time for me to cross into Eretz Yisrael. And what's the response?
Don't come through.
You're not coming through. But wait a minute, didn't we have an agreement? Sure. When was the agreement?
400 years ago.
Yesterday. 200 years ago. I'm not obligated to have anything but that yesterday. Yesterday, 210 years ago, 400 years ago. You see an amazing, amazing way of life. And I think that that's really, besides all the problems that we have with Esav, the real Esavism is a way of life. And I think I wouldn't be surprised if the majority of human beings in general think about, don't tell me about other stuff. I want it now. And that's where the real danger of Esavism. We live, if I promise you something, and no matter what, I'll keep it. I'm living now, but I know that we have children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren. We know that after 120 years, we're going to go to another universe, another world. I know that that Eretz Yisrael may not be exactly safe right now, but I know somewhere along the line things will happen. Mm-hmm. Judaism is a religion that is basically infinite. Whatever happened is important. Whatever happens now is important. Whatever will happen is important. And you know how we say that in Hebrew? Hashem Melech, Hashem Malach, Hashem Yimloch L'Olam Va'ed. The three.
Also, yeah. Also, like
we have the present, we have the past, and we have the future. And the thing with Esavism, and I'm not talking about Mr. Asa himself, I'm not even concerned about him, but the feeling is, sure, I agreed with you that you have Eretz Yisrael. That was 400 years ago. I'm not letting you through now. Sure, I sold you the Bechorah, but that was yesterday. Sure, you're going to tell me I'll give you Vayibes HaBechorah. So I have a feeling that besides all the things that we learn, of course, when in school, we have a view of Esau. He may have been, but the thing in Bereshit is more than that. But still, is to teach us not just that God created giraffes and zebras, but within the presence of Bereshit Shefa Yetzirah, you see the essence of what human beings are like. There are those who feel that I live like this right now, but I know someday it'll be better. Someday Kadosh Baruch Hu will connect with me. I will connect with God. And there are those for whom the whole thing is, don't bother me. I want it now. Okay. I think it's a fascinating idea, no?
Very, very nice.
Yeah, it's really interesting. Thank you, Salva.
Yeah. Anybody want to add anything to this?
I would just like to say that the meeting on Zoom is going to end very, very
Wait,
soon. I don't want
the
it.
phone's ringing. The phone has not stopped ringing. It hasn't rang all day today, except for this 25 minutes.
It's a nace.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, who wants to ask a question? I'm sorry.
No, I didn't have a question. I just want to say that the Zoom is going to end soon. I don't want it to cut anyone off.
Oh, okay. Anybody wants to say anything before we get cut off?
Thank you, Saba. This is really
Thank you. I
interesting.
think it's a beautiful idea, and I really was given that last week, but Esav appears again, so don't worry about it. We'll have a. Love you. I'll have a
Thank you,
wonderful
Saba.
Shalom, family. It was good. I like. I get very excited when it comes to these, so you have to forgive me. Okay. Shalom.
We love you.
Thanks, Saba.